The Life of Pablo. After the release of Yeezus, Kanye West's most polarizing album, many fans couldn't predict what will Kanye release next. Would it be a radio-friendly old-school, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy type of record, or more expanded, longer Yeezus-inspired album? From a sequel to Yeezus, Yeezus 2, to a darker album, So Help Me God, and from So Help Me God to a more industrial, more polished album, The Life of Pablo. A quote, a living and breathing creating expression, broke records, received very mixed opinions, and it was Ye's weirdest album yet. In this video, I'll be doing an album review of Kanye West's 7th studio album, The Life of Pablo, and giving my opinion on every song from this record. If you like this type of content, check out my channel and other videos from the channel. You might find some enjoyable. And also, I want to mention that this is only my opinion. Do not take my opinion as fact, and if you have a different opinion, leave it in the comments below. I'll explain how this review and how my other upcoming reviews will work. First, I'll make a score prediction of the album. After that, I'll review every song from the album, give my opinion on it, and give it a score from 1 to 10. Then I'll calculate an average score that will be the score of the album. I think this album is going to get an 8 out of 10, but let's see if our prediction is true. The 7th studio album from Kanye West is made of 20 tracks, which are 1 hour, 6 minutes and 1 second long in total. The Life of Pablo has 16 songs and 4 interludes. The longest song on this album is called No More Parties in LA, which is 6 minutes and 14 seconds long. The shortest song on this album is Frank's track, which is just a separation of Frank Ocean from the track Wolves, the 13th track on the album. This album is pretty much all over the place, but it's basically telling a story of Kanye trying to decide what will he choose, family or fame. But I'll not ramble and repeat myself, because there are much better videos from other people about the backstory of this album. Some examples can be this album analysis of Digital Download. I'll leave a link of this video in the description. It's a great video and I totally recommend it. Now, let's review Kanye West's 7th studio album, The Life of Pablo. Ultralight Beam is the first track of the album. This is a gospel song and includes a very good feature of Chance the Rapper. He kinda carried the track and his feature made the track much better. The vocals on the song are pretty good and the instrumental is really weird but interesting. It's a really weird opener, but that's the point of this album. There is no order, kinda. But I think this would be a better closer than an opener. The choir is my favorite part of the song. It's really angelic. Chance's spot is a bit off-sync at the start of his verse, but when that fixes up, he carries the song to another level. The chorus is simple but catchy and it fits the song really well. The Gang choir gave me chills and it's a really nice ending to a great gospel song. After everything I said, I wanted to say that it's not my favorite of the 20 songs, but it's not the worst of the bunch. And sometimes I might skip it when I'm listening to this album, so it gets a score of 7 out of 10. The second song from this album is one of many fan favorite Kanye songs and I think you know what I'm talking about. Father Stretch My Hands Part 1 is one of my favorite songs of all Kanye's discography. It has a catchy hook, great instrumental, and more great things. The intro of this song is kinda weird but fitting rather well. The track is also kinda short, but Kanye fit one of his best rap songs into 2 minutes and 15 seconds with the intro. It gets the score of 9.5 out of 10, so let's review the third song on the album. Perfect! The continuation of Father Stretch My Hands Part 1 is the third track on the album and its name is Part 2. This is a really good remix of the song Panda by Designer. It starts off with Kanye talking in the intro and then it jumps over to the chorus of Designer's Panda. It features good rapping and reused lines from the last song. The ending is a bit unfitting to the song and this brings the song a bit down for me. The score this track gets is an 8 out of 10. Moving on to the next track. The fourth track from this album has the most controversial bar from this album, and its name is Famous. Rihanna is also featured on the song, and it includes pretty nice vocals. The instrumental reminds me a bit of Black Skinhead, a track from Kanye's 6th studio album Yeezus, which I'm going to do a review sometime in the future. It is a pretty in-your-face and bombastic instrumental. The song is one of the songs from this album to have a music video, but I'm not going to play it for 2 reasons. Maybe I'll get a copyright claim and it's really inappropriate. I like the late registration reference on the line that says "Wake Up Mr. West," which is the name of the first track on Kanye's 2nd studio album, Late Registration. The ending is a pretty weird one, and kinda fits the song and the theme of the album. Famous gets a 7.5 out of 10. To see if people will like the new theme of the album, Kanye West posted some songs on SoundCloud to get feedback, which is the name of the fifth song from this album. It features a weird but great instrumental, and it's an amazing song altogether. The rapping of this track is kinda fast, but sounds great, and it's an S tier for me. I also want to point out that I like the beat change on this song, and it fits in really well. The ending of this song is also good, so on that note, I'll give the song an 8 out of 10. Lowlights is the sixth track on this album, and it's also the first interlude on this album. It is there to smoothly get to the song highlights. It features a female voice, talking, and it's a very weird interlude. The bumping noises in the background are very weird. Also, the echo that is in the last third of the song is not in it, and it makes the track even worse. This can't get a score higher than a 5, right? The seventh track on this album is called Highlights, and it's a song where Kanye is bragging about everything he has done. The instrumental is great, and the intro is really interesting. Also, this track has some parts that have an echo sound effect, and it's a really cool thing to have. The beginning fast rap is satisfying to listen, and I like the flow of this part, and generally the whole song's flow. It features some tambourines in the background, and the least I can say is that they fit really well. It's a fun listen, so it gets an 8 out of 10.
They gotta rap God shit.
Freestyle 4 is hands down the weirdest song from this album, but it fits the narrative of the album. It is also extremely underrated in my opinion. It has a really eerie and spooky instrumental, and Kanye's voice is really weirdly auto-tuned to fit the vibe of the song. Speaking of vibes, this track gives me Jesus vibes because of its weird nature and its harsh noises, kinda like On-Site's intro. Freestyle 4 has a really loud bumping noises in the background that fit the song really nicely, and they're quite random, much like the whole song. The song also has a really smooth beat change, but the flow is the opposite of that. It's really weird. The song's ending is scary too. A score that I'll give this song is an 8 out of 10.
At that time, I'd like to meet.
This is another interlude on this album, and it's the ninth track too. I Love Kanye is a very sarcastic a cappella song about people missing the old Kanye. The song doesn't have an instrumental, and the word Kanye is mentioned 25 times in the song. It's a very weird but funny interlude, but I think it can't get more than a 6, right? Waves is one of the standout tracks from this album. Actually, it is named just like the old name of this album, which was Waves. It has a feature from Chris Brown, and it sounds really good. The intro is very energetic and it's great. The bridge is pretty smooth and good, just like the chorus. Also, the first half is better than the second half of the song in my opinion. I don't have anything else to say about the song other than the fact that it's a song I would never skip while listening to The Life of Pablo. Waves gets a 9 out of 10.
My mission.
The next song, the 11th track on this album, has a feature of Abel Tesfaye, aka The Weeknd. FML features great vocals from Abel, weird parts and much more. The hook is an S tier for me. The Weeknd's vocals are amazing on this song. Kanye's rapping, if you can even call it rapping, is weird but it fits the vibe of this song. The instrumental is simple but effective, and the ending is great, and in the second half of the song, after a short break, it weirds me out a lot, just like Freestyle 4. It's a great song overall, but because of that weird part, it will bring the score down to 9 out of 10. The 12th song on this album is called Real Friends, and it's an interesting song. It has a good chorus that is very simple. The instrumental gives off vibes of Feedback's instrumental. The background vocals in this song are also great. Kanye's rapping is really good too. The song's flow is pretty solid and not bad. The song ending's vocals are angelic and mesmerizing, but the song is alright at best. It's also a bit boring, so I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is a legendary song with a pretty famous intro. Wolves is an interesting song that is pretty unique. It is heavily auto-tuned and kinda brings the score down for me. The build-up to a drop is cool, and Sia Spot features some great singing. Kanye's rapping is good at best, and this song gets a 7.5 out of 10. This song also used to have a Frank Ocean outro, but I'll talk about this later.
Ring out.
As I said before, Wolves used to have an outro made by Frank Ocean. The 14th track on this album is actually the Frank Ocean Wolves outro, just separated from the original song. It has really good vocals and a really simple but cool instrumental. It kinda feels like an interlude, and I think it's better than being an outro to a weird song. I think this can't get a better score than a 7, right?
Yeezy was good.
Silver Surfer intermission, stylized as this, is a phone call between Max B and Kanye West. It's a really weird interlude, but somehow fits the theme of the album. This call was recorded when The Life of Pablo was called Waves. That is why Max B says the word wave and other variations of that word a lot. The call sounds like a walkie-talkie, and that brings the score up for me. This interlude gets a 6.5 out of 10.
Flows off. I remember
30 Hours is one of my favorite songs from the album. It has a great drum instrumental. The vocals that are repeating the words 30 hours are great too. The rapping is also on point and has a really nice flow. Also, the parts where the instrumental cuts out completely are one of the best parts of the song in my opinion. This song gets a clean 10 out of 10. Nothing more needs to be said.
You're making them mad as fuck.
This song includes one of the most iconic Madlib beats of all time. No More Parties in LA is the 17th song on this album, and it is made by Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar. The instrumental is amazing, and as I said, this is one of the best beats made by Madlib. This song has really good back-to-back rapping from Kendrick and Kanye, and their parts are equally good. Just like 30 Hours, the parts where the instrumental cuts out for a few seconds are really great. The part where a voice says,
I just keep on loving you, baby.
is really random, but good. This song gets a clean 9.5 out of 10.
I stuck to my roots.
Facts was a single made by Kanye West to hype up the release of his 7th studio album and kinda got negative feedback. So Kanye got Charlie Heat to produce on this song, and it made the song much better in my humble opinion. Facts, Charlie Heat version, is the 18th track from the album, and I gotta say, it is much better from the old Facts. This song has a great instrumental, and the lyrics are sometimes funny, but they're generally good. The instrumental is the best part about the song. The song goes hard in the first half, but the beat change makes the instrumental slightly worse, but the song doesn't get bad, so it gets a 9 out of 10.
Your love is fading.
Fade is my least favorite song from the album, not including the interludes. It has an okay but boring instrumental, and the voice that says, I feel it fade, is too repetitive, and the song is boring in general. It's a pretty weak song. I think nothing more needs to be said. A 6.5 out of 10.
Land is spinning.
The last and 20th song on this album is called Saint Pablo, and is actually added to the album tracklist 5 months after The Life of Pablo was originally released. It's a long song, and it has a nice hook and instrumental. This is the best song on the album lyrically, and the vocal change is also amazing. It's an amazing song, I have nothing more to say. This song gets a clean 9 out of 10. The Life of Pablo was a revolutionary album, and it is my favorite Kanye West album at the moment. So let's get to the final score. The Life of Pablo, the 7th studio album from American rapper Kanye West, gets a 7.8 out of 10. The next video I'm going to be doing is a track review of the song Na 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 and the remix of that song. Thank you for watching. What do you think about the album? Do you agree with everything that I said? What do you want to see next? What should I improve about my videos? Your answers to these questions you can leave in the comment section of this video. If you enjoyed this video, give the like. It will help me out a lot. If you want to support me in the best way possible, a subscription to this channel could be the best way to do so. I'd really appreciate it. This was Kanye Fan 98 speaking. See you in the next video.